Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Lori Langdon, a board-certified pediatrician, mother of 6 and grandmother to 1, with another on the way, yay. Here today to answer some of your questions about the COVID-19 vaccine for adolescents. So today is Tuesday, May 11th, 2021. You may know that yesterday the FDA issued an emergency use authorization for the COVID-19 vaccine made by Pfizer for 12 to 15-year-olds. Now tomorrow, May 12th, the CDC is expected to meet with the Advisory Committee for Immunization Practices and most likely recommend this Pfizer product for 12 to 15-year-olds. So I would like to answer some of the questions I've been hearing from parents, and hopefully you will find this helpful. One of the most common ones I hear is this vaccine safe? And I want to reassure you with all of my heart that it is safe. My children have received it, and in fact, the youngest, who is 15, has not been able to receive it yet, but will just as soon as the CDC recommends it tomorrow. So we're sitting on go with that. So that's exciting. I know many families like ours have been a little concerned about getting full force back into our usual activities like church or summer camps and things like that, because not every single member of the family was vaccinated. So this is going to solve our problem because our youngest is 15. There may still be some partial vaccine rates in some families depending on the ages of all your children. So yes, the vaccine is safe. Make sure you're getting good information from good sources. The vaccine does not cause infertility. The vaccine does not make you shed virus. Only live vaccines could do that. The vaccine does not make you shed virus and make other people around you become infertile. These things are so absurd, guys, but they're circulating in the internet like crazy. The vaccine does not contain microchips. The vaccine was developed rapidly, but the technology of the messenger RNA was not a recent development. It's been around for years. We were just waiting for a candidate vaccine to showcase this incredible technology of the messenger RNA that has been developed. Also, some people are still concerned over the pause in the J&J vaccine, which actually proves how safe this vaccine process is and how careful and absolutely keeping track of all the data the CDC is, that there was a pause and that it was now restarted in use. But you should understand this particular vaccine that's becoming available probably tomorrow for 12 to 15-year-olds is Pfizer's product, which is a messenger RNA, not the J&J product with the concern. So I hope that offers you a little bit of reassurance. And again, I wouldn't have vaccinated my own children and myself with this exact product if I didn't believe that it was safe, okay? So yes, the vaccine is safe. Is the vaccine effective? Why, yes, it is. In the study that Pfizer did of 2,260 adolescents, it was 100% effective. The side effects that these 12 to 15-year-olds had were very similar to adults in the study. Just some arm soreness, tenderness at the site of the injection. The next day, sometimes some fever or chills or headache or fatigue or muscle aches, that sort of thing, exactly like the 16 to 25-year-olds that they compared this group with. In fact, their antibody levels, the immunogenicity of this vaccine in the 12 to 15-year-olds was robust and vigorous, hence the 100% effectiveness. So I believe the vaccine is safe. I believe the vaccine is effective. And so the next question is this vaccine necessary? Yes, I believe it is. It turns out that children above 10 have similar transmissibility rates as adults. Children under 10, not as much. So we can cut down on the transmission of this virus if we could get this age group vaccinated. The more of the population that's vaccinated, the quicker we can get to herd immunity and move past this horrible pandemic. Also, children have not been completely unaffected by the pandemic. I hope you know that. And from the coronavirus itself, there have been to this point, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, about 300 deaths from COVID-19 in children. So we have to be careful when we callously may say that the vaccine or the virus doesn't affect children, because of the families of those 300 children. That is quite offensive, you can understand. There have also been over 15,000 hospitalizations of children, and you know how disruptive a hospitalization is to a family when their child is there. It is horrible. I also want to remind you about this very scary thing that can happen called multi-system inflammatory syndrome of children, and that's a very scary scary thing that requires admission usually to an intensive care unit that happens in children about 2 weeks after a COVID-19 infection. I also want to remind you that COVID-19 in children and teens can lead to a myocarditis. So current recommendations from the AAP are that if a teen has a COVID-19 infection, or a child, they need to be cleared by their primary care provider before returning to sports or athletics. Now, if it's a severe infection, they may even need to see a pediatric cardiologist, have an EKG or an echocardiogram and things like that. So I want you to understand that there are long-term effects of the COVID-19 infection itself. So many people say, what about the long-term effects of the vaccine? What they really should be more concerned about are the long-term effects of the actual infection. And that is almost always the case with vaccines and live-type virus. Your concern should be more about the infection for which the vaccine was developed. So I want to encourage you to seek out good sources of information. I have a particularly great recommendation. It is a website, covidvaccineanswers.org. And this is from the wonderful people at the Vaccine Education Center from the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia that developed this. And it's really an excellent resource and source of information. And I want to remind you to not click on the shared stories on Facebook that share misinformation and even disinformation that can really confuse you and make you very nervous about your teen getting vaccinated. Also, if we could decrease the amount of teens catching the real virus, then maybe they wouldn't serve as a reservoir for allowing this virus to replicate, increasing the chances of it coming up with new variants. And as you know, the new variants are part of why we're really concerned. The B.1.1.7 from the UK is much more transmissible and seems to affect younger people, so that's concerning. Also, you may have seen in some of the data on the news that there was a week at the end of April in which children's new cases accounted for 22% of coronavirus infections. Now, there are a lot of reasons for that. The older population in the United States is becoming increasingly vaccinated, which is fantastic. So that may have caused a little bit of a shift. Things are opening up and things are less restrictive now. That could have done it. There are more kids back at face-to-face instruction, which we encourage. The AAP truly believes that face-to-face instruction is the highest quality form of education. And also, more of the cases we're seeing now as new cases are being caused by this variant, the B.1.1.7. And so it's possible that just because it's more transmissible in younger people, that's why we're seeing a higher proportion of new cases being in children. So as we look forward to the summer and look forward to starting back school, hopefully in a more normal way this coming fall of 21, it would be excellent if we had a high percentage of vaccinated adolescents from 12 and up. That can make a huge difference because you know in school now, if a child in their class is positive, the whole classroom has to be quarantined. Once you're fully vaccinated, you do not have to be quarantined if you've had a mild exposure, which is fantastic. This could absolutely change our options for summer camps this summer and for school being normal this coming fall. So I hope all these things I've said will help convince you the vaccine is safe, the vaccine is effective, and the vaccine is necessary. Thanks.